There's something's happened to them. I know it. Because it's just not like them. They wouldn't have just run off. Nobody heard nothing from them.
This whole city changed the day those girls disappeared.
What happened to the Fort Worth missing trio? It was supposed to be a holiday season like any other. However, on December 23, 1974, the disappearance of three young girls from a local mall would change everything. Nearly 50 years later, the girls have yet to be found, but their families are still holding out hope. In Fort Worth, Texas, a city near Dallas, lived three girls: Mary Rachel Terlika, Lisa Renee Wilson, and Julianne Mosley, ages 17, 14, and 9. Rachel and Renee were students at Southwest High School, and the two were close friends, even going to family gatherings together. Julie was the younger sister of Renee's boyfriend and neighbor Terry, which made them friends. Rachel lived close by Renee with her husband of 6 months, 23-year-old Tommy Terlika, as well as her 19-year-old sister Deborah. All of the missing lived within a few blocks of each other. The day started off cheery. Renee's boyfriend had just given her a promise ring, a gesture of his commitment to her, and Rachel was eager to pick up Christmas presents for her very young stepson who would be with her and Tommy for Christmas Eve. She initially asked her sister Deborah to come with her, but she turned down the offer, saying she was tired from playing cards until 4 a.m. the night before. With Deborah opting to sleep in, Rachel called Renee and the two made plans to go to the mall. When Rachel arrived to Renee's house, Julie asked to tag along, and the girls were fine with it as long as her mother said yes. Excited, Julie called her mother on the phone, and though she initially said no, Julie was persuasive, telling her mother that she would have no one to play with otherwise. After much pleading, her mother finally agreed, telling her to be home by 6 p.m. This was no problem, as Renee had plans to be at a party at 4 p.m. that day anyways, and she wanted to be back before then to get ready. With the crew assembled, the girls got inside Rachel's Oldsmobile 98 and headed out, stopping by an Army surplus store first to pick up some items that Rachel had put on layaway. After that, they rode to the Seminary South Shopping Center, a mall in Fort Worth with an array of stores and plenty of shoppers, as seen here. The girls parked on a Sears upper-level parking lot and got out, not knowing that the mall would be the last place they were ever seen. After they got out the car, the girls went inside to shop. They were spotted in the food court around lunchtime by a girl who recognized them. Around 6 p.m., the girls hadn't been home, so Rachel's family went to the mall to look for them. Though they looked through all the stores and paged Rachel repeatedly, they couldn't locate her. All they found was her car, still sitting in the Sears parking lot. In the car were a pair of jeans and a present Renee's mom gave to Rachel for her stepson. The jeans were in the Army surplus store bag, but likely were the jeans Renee had been wearing earlier that day, as she put the jeans from the store on to wear inside the mall. Some sources say items from the mall were found in the car, but that seems unlikely. Either way, there are two harrowing possibilities. Either the girls left the mall and put their presents in the car before disappearing, or they never made it back to the car at all. Unable to find their children, the involved families turned to the police. Initially, police considered the children to be runaways, not missing. This more optimistic outlook made a bit of sense too. Deborah, Rachel's older sister, had herself run away before. The day after the girls disappeared, a letter ostensibly written by Rachel arrived to Tommy confirming that the girls had gone to Houston temporarily. However, the families of the involved didn't believe the girls ran away, as the circumstances and even the letter itself were sketchy. To start, the Arnolds, who were Rachel's family, figured that even if she ran away, she wouldn't take the 9-year-old Julie with her. Furthermore, they weren't sure the letter actually came from Rachel for a variety of reasons. For starters, the signature at the bottom looked misspelled, as if the author originally wrote Rachie before changing the last E to an L. The letter was also addressed to Thomas, a name by which Rachel never called her husband. Finally, the zip code on the envelope, 76083, was blurred and the final 3 was backwards. The letter's quick arrival was also a mystery, as most mail didn't arrive that fast back then. For all of these reasons, the family believed that the letter was a fake. Police weren't convinced the letter was real either. Over the years, the letter's been sent to the FBI alongside samples of Rachel's handwriting to compare, and the results have come back inconclusive. One theory states that Rachel indeed wrote the letter, but only because she was forced to. The zip code on the letter could either be 76088 if one reads the backwards 3 as a faded 8, or 76083 with the backwards 3 likely coming from a hand-loaded stamp. Those zip codes at the time were for Weatherford and Throckmorton, Texas, neither of which was on the way to Houston. With the girls missing in the letter of no help, the families awaited their returns and did what they could to find them. On New Year's Eve, a girl called the Wilson home saying that she was a friend of Renee's and that the girls would be arriving back to Fort Worth on a bus from Houston at 7:25 p.m. that day. The Wilsons quickly told the other families about it, and they all rushed down to the Greyhound bus station to see their girls. 7:25 came, as did a bus from Houston, but the girls weren't on it. By 8:30, most of the families went home. Renee's father Richard and Tommy both stuck around until midnight before heading home to bring in the new year, -3. The girl who called the Wilson household claiming to be a friend of Renee's was a fake, as none of Renee's friends recognized her name when asked by Renee's mom, Judy. Unfortunately, she would be just one of the many fake and hopeless leads the families of the missing children have had to put up with over the years. The Arnold family quickly grew unsatisfied with the police investigation into their daughter's disappearance, so they ended up hiring a couple of private investigators, John Swaim and Dan James. Swaim personally went to Port Lavaca, Texas with at least 100 volunteers to investigate after he received a tip that the girls had been killed and taken there. This tip, however, proved fruitless. He also received a call from an anonymous man saying he would tell them where the bodies were in exchange for the reward money and immunity from prosecution. Over the next few years, Swaim would continue to investigate and push the police to do so as well. Unfortunately, Swaim died in 1979 from an apparent suicide, and before he died, he requested that all of his case files be destroyed, including those about the Fort Worth missing trio. As a result, all of his knowledge about the case is gone from the world. Dan James, on the other hand, lived until 2021, and he had been investigating the case all the time. His work uncovered a few interesting details about the family, some bordering on rumor. For instance, Tommy was actually engaged to Deborah before he met and married her younger sister Rachel, and James believes the two were having an affair at the time Rachel vanished. He believes Rachel was cheating on her husband as well. Additionally, he believes that Deborah and Rachel had an altercation at a bowling alley the night before Rachel disappeared, and that Rachel knew criminals who were in town the day the girls went missing. For all these weird circumstances, however, James stressed that there was no proof Deborah was in any way involved in her younger sister's disappearance. Before he passed away, James received death threats from anonymous callers for his work on the case. Though James may have accepted Deborah's innocence, the families involved often didn't feel the same way. Rachel's younger brother Rusty often holds her in enmity, believing that she may have been involved. Deborah herself has repeatedly defended herself against such claims. As she tells it, Rusty is fanatical and has a faulty memory, imposing negative feelings on her and good ones on their sister, such as his belief that Rachel taught him to play guitar.
In that song, I said, "You taught me my first guitar chords when you got in him."
In reality, Deborah says she taught him, as Rachel was unable to play herself. In 2000, Deborah told Fort Worth's Star-Telegram newspaper that she has nothing to hide. Following the publication of those words, Rusty, Renee's parents, and Julie's mother all signed the following letter asking her to cooperate with the FBI and take a polygraph test. Clearly, not everyone trusts her in this matter. Tommy is also often a subject of theories surrounding the girls' disappearance. The letter he received came rather quickly, and some police believe it's too big to fit in his envelope. He and Deborah both suspected foul play just days after the girls went missing in spite of the letter. 17 months after Rachel disappeared, Tommy bought property in Throckmorton and listed her name on the deed. He would end up divorcing her on account of abandonment and remarrying multiple times. In 2 of those marriages, he requested marriage licenses in Weatherford and had them sent to Throckmorton. In other words, he has connections to both possible zip codes given on the letter. To this day, people often accuse Tommy of being involved in the girl's disappearance, though he maintains he wasn't. Rachel's father, Cotton Arnold, was apparently abusive. Rusty called him an evil man and explained to one interviewer that he would beat his sisters until they bled, sparing him because he was the son he wanted. Because of his abusiveness and connections to a sex offender, some speculate that he was involved in Rachel's disappearance. Whether he was, the world will never know, as he passed away from cancer just months after the girls vanished. In the original case, and after it was reopened in 2001, various witnesses have claimed to have seen the girls at the mall before they went missing, and most agree that they got into a vehicle with someone else, though the details aren't all a perfect match. One witness says it was a van, another a truck. One says there was one man, another multiple. One witness says he was told by the man not to get involved because it was a family matter. Another says the girls got into a car with a mall security guard and seemed happy, not afraid. These witness accounts give rise to more questions than answers. Why all the contradictions? And as busy as the mall was with Christmas shoppers, could someone really kidnap 3 girls in broad daylight? Theories about the disappearance of the Fort Worth missing trio are as abundant as they are different. Some believe the girls were victims of sex trafficking, aka white slavery. Others believe they were killed or that only Rachel is alive. Some theorize that the serial rapist / potential killer Mike DeBartolebin was responsible, as he was in Fort Worth at the time. The poor police response to the girls' disappearance has drawn its own attention. According to Renee's father Richard, the police were actively lying to the families. He says that one day, when the police claimed they were going to check out a well to search for the girls' bodies, He tailed them, and instead of going to investigate, they instead went to a coffee shop. After they left the coffee shop, they went back to the station and told him that the tip was no good. If true, one can only question just how much the police knew and whether they're doing a cover-up. One girl, suspicious of her own past, contacted Rusty one day saying she believed that she was Julianne Mosley, and even Julie's mother thought they looked just alike. However, a DNA test shut down the connection. As time presses on, the girls' families continue to search for them to this very day, hoping that one day they'll show themselves again. However, after almost 50 years, they still remain to be found. There is hope, however. In November 2022, another decades-long missing case was finally shut, the kidnapping of Melissa Highsmith. Highsmith was just 22 months old when she disappeared from her home in Fort Worth in 1971, taken away by her babysitter. She went missing just a block away from the mall where the missing trio disappeared. After 51 years, however, a DNA test confirmed her identity and reunited her with her mother. If it happened once, it can happen again. That's it for the story of the Fort Worth missing trio. If you have any information about the case that can help investigators, contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children or the FBI below. Thank you for watching, and please leave a like and comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Sources quoted are in the description, so you can read more if you like. Until next time, this is Mr. Mysteries.